Most men panic when they hear the words, "I'm not ready for a relationship." They take it at face value, back off immediately, and spend weeks wondering what went wrong. But here's the truth nobody tells you. When a woman says she's not ready, it rarely means she doesn't want love. It usually means she doesn't want it with you, at least not in your current energy. Those words are a test, a shield, and sometimes a soft rejection wrapped in politeness. The way you respond in that moment determines everything. Most guys start pleading, proving their worth, or waiting endlessly hoping she'll change her mind. But the man who understands female psychology knows how to decode that phrase, stay composed, and flip the dynamic completely. Because when she says she's not ready, she's not rejecting love. She's measuring your strength, your timing, and your self-respect. In this video, I'll break down exactly what it means when she says those 6 words and how to respond in a way that makes her rethink everything she just said. Point 1. Don't take her words at face value. Read the emotion behind them. When a woman says, "I'm not ready for a relationship," most men take it literally. They think she means she's too busy, too heartbroken, or too focused on herself. So they back off respectfully, waiting for the perfect time to try again. But that's where they fail, because in female psychology, words are rarely the full story. Emotion is. What she's really communicating isn't a calendar update about her readiness. She's revealing how she feels around you right now. And the man who learns to read that emotional language wins every time. Here's the truth. Women don't turn down connection. They turn down the feeling they get from a certain man. When she says she's not ready, what she usually means is, "I don't feel enough polarity, excitement, or emotional safety with you yet." It's not that she doesn't want a relationship, it's that the way you're showing up doesn't trigger her feminine energy to trust or desire commitment. Maybe you've been too available, too eager, or too logical. Maybe you made her feel pursued but not challenged. In her mind, something is off, and "not ready" becomes the polite, low-drama way to pull back without hurting your ego. But here's where strong men separate from average ones. They don't beg for clarity or chase validation. They don't respond with, "but I'll wait for you," or "what can I do to change your mind?" Because those words confirm her suspicion, that you're emotionally dependent on her response. The powerful man doesn't take her words as rejection. He treats them as feedback. He hears the emotion behind them and adjusts, not to manipulate her, but to recalibrate his own energy. He becomes less available, more focused, more confident. He reclaims his frame. And when he does, something shifts. The same woman who said she wasn't ready starts wondering if she made a mistake. Because suddenly, he's not waiting, he's evolving. He's no longer orbiting her approval, he's back in his purpose. That shift changes how she feels around him. It reignites curiosity, tension, and attraction. So remember this, never take her words at surface level. Don't get lost in the logic. Focus on the emotion underneath. Because women don't fall for explanations. They fall for how a man makes them feel. And when you master reading that emotion, her "not ready" becomes "I can't stop thinking about him." Point 2. Don't try to convince her. Reclaim your power instead. The moment she says, "I'm not ready for a relationship," most men shift straight into negotiation mode. They start explaining, over-talking, and trying to prove why she should give them a chance. They'll say things like, "I understand, but I'm different," or "I can wait until you're ready." It sounds noble, but what it really communicates is weakness. You've gone from being a man she was curious about to a man trying to sell himself. And nothing kills attraction faster than neediness, dressed up as patience. Here's what you have to understand. When she says she's not ready, it's not your cue to convince. It's your cue to detach. Because trying to persuade her only reinforces the frame that she's the prize and you're the applicant. You're teaching her that your world revolves around her decision. That kills polarity. A man who knows his value never chases clarity from someone who's unsure. He doesn't beg for approval. He withdraws his energy and lets his absence speak louder than words. This is where real masculine power shines. Instead of sending long texts trying to explain your side, you go silent. Instead of offering reassurance, you move forward. Not out of anger, but from control. You redirect your focus back to your purpose, your fitness, your mission, your life. Because the more you chase her mind, the more she runs. But the more you return to your mission, the more her curiosity grows. She starts thinking, why isn't he chasing? Did he stop caring? Who has his attention now? That emotional imbalance is what reignites attraction. Here's the psychological truth. Women respect men who can walk away when their energy isn't being matched. It signals abundance, strength, and inner certainty. When you stop trying to convince her and simply let go, you communicate something powerful without saying a word. I want you, but I don't need you. And that message hits deeper than any speech you could give. So remember this, never explain your value. Demonstrate it. Never chase her certainty. Live in yours. Because the man who tries to convince her loses power, but the man who stays calm and walks away becomes the one she can't stop thinking about. The goal isn't to make her ready, it's to make her realize what she just lost. Point 3, understand that not ready often means not inspired. When a woman says, I'm not ready for a relationship, it sounds like timing. It sounds like circumstances. Maybe she just got out of something. Maybe she's focusing on herself. But beneath that surface story, there's often a deeper truth. She's just not inspired enough by you yet. It's not that she doesn't want love. It's that she doesn't feel that spark, that energy, that emotional gravity that makes her want to give up her freedom for you. And here's the hard part. That's not her fault. That's on you to understand. Women don't fall for logic. They fall for emotion. You can be stable, kind, consistent, even attractive, but if she doesn't feel something deep when she's around you, she'll say she's not ready. It's a polite way of saying, you haven't awakened something inside me yet. Because every woman is ready for the right man, the one who stirs her emotions in ways she can't explain. When she says she's not ready, what she really means is, I don't feel that pull. And you'll never trigger that pull by begging, over-communicating, or over-investing. The truth is, women aren't waiting for the perfect moment. They're waiting for a feeling. That feeling comes when she senses confidence, mystery, control, and purpose. The moment she feels that your life moves with or without her, her instincts react. It's not about words, it's about energy. Weak energy makes her retreat. Grounded, centered energy makes her curious. The more you try to convince her to be ready, the more she emotionally disconnects. But when you step back, improve yourself, and radiate quiet strength, she starts feeling what she didn't before: respect, desire, and intrigue. Here's the irony. When you stop trying to make her ready, she starts thinking about you again. She notices your absence. She compares you to every man who's chasing her, and she realizes none of them make her feel what your silence does. That's the power of emotional contrast. So understand this. Not ready is rarely about timing. It's about impact. Don't try to fix her mood. Elevate your energy. Because the moment you start living like the man who doesn't need her to be ready, she'll start wondering why she ever said those words in the first place. And that's when not ready turns into, I can't stop thinking about him. Point 4, don't offer to wait for her. Make her feel what waiting costs. When a woman says, I'm not ready for a relationship, weak men respond with, it's okay, I'll wait for you. They think it sounds loyal, patient, and romantic, but what it really does is kill attraction instantly. Because in her mind, the moment you say you'll wait, you've admitted that she's your only option, that your world has paused for her decision. And no woman wants to be with a man who stops living because she hesitated. She might appreciate your kindness, but she won't desire you. Desire isn't born from comfort. It's born from pressure, risk, and emotional tension. Here's what you must understand. When you tell her you'll wait, you remove the fear of losing you. And when there's no fear of loss, there's no urgency to act. She relaxes, explores her options, and keeps you on emotional standby. Safe, predictable, available. You become the man she texts when she's bored, not the man she dreams about. Meanwhile, she invests her energy elsewhere because deep down, she knows you'll always be there. That's not loyalty. It's self-sabotage. The stronger move? You don't wait. You evolve. You let her words be a line in the sand, not a leash around your neck. You respect her space, but make sure she feels the cost of that space. Your absence should echo. When she checks your profile, she should see growth. When she hears your name, she should feel curiosity. When she realizes she hasn't heard from you in weeks, she should wonder if she made a mistake. That's not manipulation. That's natural consequence. You didn't punish her. You simply stopped offering your energy for free. This is how women rethink their decisions, not because you begged, but because you stayed grounded in your worth. You show that your life moves forward, with or without her, and that power shifts the dynamic completely. The man who waits loses value every second. The man who walks away gains it, because walking away doesn't just say, I respect your choice. It says, I know what I bring, and I don't chase uncertainty. So remember this, never tell her you'll wait. Show her what it means when she loses you, because the moment she realizes your time, attention, and energy aren't guaranteed, that's when not ready starts to feel like the worst mistake she's ever made. Point 5, stop trying to be her therapist. Be the man who makes her feel again. When a woman says, I'm not ready for a relationship, the average man flips into fixer mode. He starts listening to all her emotional problems, giving advice, reassuring her, and playing the role of her personal therapist. He thinks that by being patient, understanding, and endlessly supportive, he'll win her over. But that approach backfires every time. Why? Because the more you try to fix her pain, the more she sees you as comfort, not desire. You become the emotional cushion, not the man who makes her feel alive. Here's the truth. Women don't fall for men who solve their problems. They fall for men who reignite their emotions. When she says she's not ready, she's often in a place of emotional numbness, maybe from heartbreak, stress, or disappointment. But the cure for that numbness isn't another therapy session. It's feeling something real again. And that happens when she's around a man who embodies certainty, passion, and presence. Not the man who tiptoes around her feelings, but the one who reminds her what attraction actually feels like. If you try too hard to understand her, you remove polarity. You make her feel like she's talking to her older brother or her counselor, not a man she wants to kiss. The stronger move is to lead with energy, not empathy. You don't need to analyze her pain. You need to remind her of her fire. You do that through your tone, your confidence, your control of the moment. You tease her lightly. You challenge her thinking. You show her through your actions that you're not here to rescue her. You're here to inspire her. And here's where the magic happens. When she sees that you're not trying to fix her, she feels safe to feel again. She starts to drop her guard because you're not treating her like she's broken. You're treating her like a woman, one capable of passion, desire, and connection. That subtle difference changes everything. So remember this, never play the role of her emotional caretaker. That's not attraction, it's servitude. Be the man who brings her back to life through energy, not explanations. Because when you stop trying to repair her and start making her feel something again, she won't tell you she's not ready. She'll tell you she's never met anyone like you. Point 6, don't ask for clarity. Create it through action. When a woman says, I'm not ready for a relationship, weak men immediately start asking questions. So what are we then? Do you still like me? Should I wait or move on? They beg for definitions, for certainty, for emotional clarity, and that's exactly how they lose all power, because the moment you ask for clarity, you hand her control. You're admitting that she's the one who decides your value, your pace, and your future. The masculine doesn't ask for clarity. The masculine creates it through action. Here's the hard truth most men can't swallow. Women don't follow words. They follow energy. When you start interrogating her feelings, you're showing her that you're lost in your emotions. But when you calmly shift your focus and start acting like a man who already knows his worth, she begins to feel the polarity flip. Suddenly, you're not the one waiting for answers. She is. She starts wondering, what is he thinking? Has he moved on? Why is he so calm when I pushed him away? That shift in emotional power reignites her curiosity and with it, her attraction. The key is to lead through composure. You don't question her decision, you respect it, and then you disappear from the emotional battlefield. You stop trying to talk her into anything. You let your silence, your discipline, and your focus do the talking for you. You build your life louder than your words, because nothing creates clarity faster than absence. When a man withdraws his energy, a woman suddenly starts to see the picture clearly. She realizes what your presence brought. She feels the difference between your energy and everyone else's. That contrast forces clarity faster than any late-night conversation ever could. And here's the beautiful paradox. When you stop chasing understanding, you become the one she's desperate to understand. She starts analyzing your behavior, rereading old texts, replaying your last words in her mind. Why? Because you stopped explaining and started embodying. You became mystery again. So remember this, don't ask her to define where things stand. Define yourself instead. Lead with energy, not emotion. Because the man who doesn't demand clarity, he creates it just by walking away, becomes the man she finally understands she should have never let go of. Point 7, don't close the door, just stop holding it open. When a woman says, "I'm not ready for a relationship," most men go to one of two extremes. They either cling tighter, refusing to let go, or they slam the door shut, saying, "Fine, forget it then." Both moves come from emotion, not power. The first reeks of desperation, the second reeks of bitterness. But the man who truly understands attraction doesn't do either. He simply stops holding the door open. He doesn't chase, but he also doesn't close himself off in resentment. He steps back, lets her feel the silence, and keeps living his life like a man whose worth never depended on her readiness. Here's why this works. Women don't want finality. They want feeling. When you slam the door, you give them closure, and closure kills curiosity. But when you calmly step back without hostility, you leave a question mark in her mind. Does he still think about me? Did I lose my chance? Why does it feel like he's gone but not angry? That uncertainty is magnetic. It's the seed of obsession. By not holding the door open, you're saying, you had your chance to walk through, and that chance is no longer guaranteed. It's not punishment, it's self-respect. You didn't beg, you didn't chase, and you didn't need to prove anything. You simply stopped making her comfort your responsibility. That act alone rebalances the dynamic, because now she has to confront what life feels like without your energy. And that emptiness, that absence, does what words never could. It makes her feel your value. The psychology here is simple. People only chase what they fear they might lose. When you stop holding that door open, she starts feeling time slipping. The illusion of unlimited access vanishes, and for the first time, she's the one questioning, not you. She starts watching your moves, noticing your growth, wondering if she misjudged your depth, and that's when "I'm not ready" starts to crumble. So remember this. You don't have to shut the door on her. You just have to stop guarding it. Stop waiting in the doorway. Walk back into your life. Because the moment she feels the weight of your absence and the power of your silence, that same door she once hesitated to walk through becomes the one she's desperate to open again. Conclusion. Now you understand what it really means when a woman says, "I'm not ready for a relationship." It's not always about timing, it's about emotion. It's about how she feels in your presence and what your energy makes her experience. Most men hear those words and collapse. They start convincing, waiting, over-explaining, and losing all power in the process. But the man who truly understands attraction hears those words differently. He doesn't panic. He pauses. He doesn't beg for clarity. He creates it through action. He doesn't wait for her to be ready. He becomes the man she wishes she hadn't pushed away. When you stop chasing and start living, everything changes. You stop being the man she feels safe rejecting and start becoming the man she regrets losing. Because women don't remember the men who waited. They remember the ones who walked away with calm strength. Not ready is never the end. It's a mirror. It shows you exactly how grounded, disciplined, and self-respecting you are. Handle it like most men, and you fade from her mind. Handle it like a man of value, and you'll live rent-free in it. Never react, never beg, never wait. Just evolve. Because the man who walks away with power always comes back with respect.